We'd like to call the Plaquemine Parish Council meeting to order at 2:02. We have roll call.
Mr. Champagne.
Voted for Patty.
Councilwoman Patty accidentally went to the Pearl Hatch Ferry by mistake, so she had to go back up to Belchester, but she's en route.
Chris, you didn't tell her Point Lash Ferry was on?
Leave it alone, man, leave that alone. So eight council member present time. We're gonna have, the prayer by our new council member. Gonna do the prayer for us.
Bow your head, please. Take this moment to acknowledge Almighty God and thank Him for our bountiful blessings, especially for the parish's natural resources. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom. And we pray for our world leaders to know how to obtain world peace. We pray for this government body comprised of both council and administration, and that we'll always serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality for all. And as this government body gathers here today, we pray for the wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to do that which is right. Amen.
Amen, thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Arini, are we gonna do executive session?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Item 2, executive session. Executive session in accordance with LRS 4217A2 in the matter of Plaquemines Parish Government versus CPRA, case number 68526, Division B, 25th JDC, Parish of Plaquemines, State of Louisiana, Attorney Rennie Burris, Councilmember Edwards.
Yeah, so we're going into offer, second, roll call. And today we'll now go into executive session
204.
at 2:04. Executive session, no binding action took place. On the request of Councilman DeFrance, we would like to take something out of order on the agenda. We would like to take up, what is it?
11E.
11E.
Discussion by LSU Ag Center regarding the citrus trees. Councilmember LaFrance.
Mr. Becknell also. Please state your name and address.
Anna Timmerman, 1811 Louisa Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70117. All right, well, thank you all for having me back. I'm here to give a quick update about the state of the citrus industry here in the parish, especially post-freeze this winter. Things are looking a little rough, but there's some hope for the future, and we recently had a meeting with all of our citrus growers back a couple of weeks ago. So just a quick recap of some challenges we've had over the years. Land loss and development, hurricanes, flooding, aging farmer population, frost damage. We've dealt with all that for many years. That's nothing new. Drought and saltwater intrusion seems to be a pending issue, especially lack of ag irrigation meters. And I know Becknells are here. They're going to talk a little bit more about that and access to irrigation water. But we're also dealing with some federally quarantined diseases, including the canker. Citrus greening is the real big one in this area. We have limited sources of replant material, so we can't just drive to Florida or Texas to get the trees we need. And there's a high price associated with that as well. But with the citrus greening disease, that makes recovery from all those environmental stresses that much harder. The greening disease is a bacterial disease. I know somebody had mentioned it might be a parasite, but it's actually a bacteria that gets inside the trees. And it's really similar to HIV or a human autoimmune disease. So it's plugging things up internally, and you can't get the water or nutrients to the tree that you need. And it's vectored by the Asian citrus psyllid insect, which we have in this area. So here you can kind of see the healthy tree next to a greening positive tree. You get that kind of chlorotic look to it where the pipes are basically plugged inside, so they're not getting the nutrients they need. And there's those branch tips that kind of turn yellow. Basically, the tree is starving, and this is associated with root loss as well. You can see a non-infected tree next to an infected one. And then in terms of the fruit quality, they turn out extremely bitter, kind of a metallic flavor, which consumers do not like. They're often discolored and lopsided as well. And then we do get a lot of fruit drop as well, too, especially if we have other stresses involved like drought. In the U.S., we're down about 92% yield, which is bad in the last 20 years. This is a Florida chart, but it correlates closely to what's been happening here in our state as well. So it's not an isolated incident. It's something that we're dealing with nationwide and actually globally. There's a few things you can do in terms of insecticides to control the insects, systemics. Screening off the young trees typically helps. It gets them a chance to grow a bit before they become infected. You can inject different products into the trunks. However, that's not an approved practice in Louisiana yet. It's something we're working on. Nutrition becomes really important too with that reduced root system. So we don't want the trees to work really hard to get what they need because they're in that kind of diminished state. So slow release fertilizers, making sure they have everything they need is really key. Excellent soil health. Luckily, we're pretty good down here in terms of soil organic matter and overall fertility. That's something our parish has a lot of, but that's something to keep in mind also. That weakened root system really does benefit from irrigation, and we're just trying to make things easy for that tree. Some things that other states are doing and that we're starting to do is growing the trees where they're protected from being infected in the first place. So growing them under insect netting so that they can't get infected. This is what they're doing in Florida. They're doing them in 10 to 100 acre blocks, so on a very large scale. And we have something set up in Violet in St. Bernard Parish to kind of replicate that on a 1/4 acre scale, and it's working quite well. Cold hardy production is becoming more important, so they're actually growing a lot of satsumas in Georgia, South Carolina, and parts of northern Florida. This is a grove that I just visited up by Poplarville, and those trees got froze worse than us, but they don't have the greening. Those trees look better than anything I've seen in our area where we do have the greening. So some things that the parish could maybe do, removal of abandoned orchards. That's something that's been discussed and implemented in the past. Those old orchards and old trees that aren't being cared for, they're kind of the repository of the insects, and then they fly into the healthy trees. So if we can remove that source of infection, that's going to do a lot. Maybe incentivizing residents to take that initiative, but the frost did kind of take care of a lot of that problem. I noticed many of the trees coming up and down today are in fact dead. So that's actually going to help us long term. And then ag water meters, it's something that I'm working on in Orleans Parish with their council. It's a reduced rate for producers of agricultural products. They're not paying the sewage charges or the fees associated with water use, and it's a separate meter box that bills them on a reduced rate. And we've seen some good movement in Orleans towards more of that, and our pilot program has been pretty successful in terms of getting that water access for our producers. That would help not only with the greening, but with frost protection in our area, because you can spray the trees with water. They would freeze, and then that actually encases them a little and insulates them also. Some hope for the future, things I'm working on with University of Florida. They have some greening tolerant cultivars that they're going to try to send us in 2026. And within a little bit of luck and help with the USDA, we'll be able to offer those to the growers. And initially as a trial basis, but then as a source of budwood material for them. But we're still 10 plus years out from that being a true kind of large scale rollout from what I'm being told. Okay, and this is my contact info, and I'll turn it over to these guys.
Benjamin Becknell Jr., 16096 Highway 23, Belle Chase. As Ms. Timmerman was showing, greening is here, and it's really bad. If anybody's noticed what orange trees look like nowadays to 10 years ago, it's no comparison. The production is way down, the taste is down. Our only hope in future is what she was showing is some type of resistant tree. Because I went to Florida about 4 weeks ago, and I looked at what they were doing. And what they're doing would be very tedious, very expensive. Looking at it as a businessman, to me, the numbers aren't there to make a profit like that. We need a tree that's resistant, that we don't have to do anything extra like we used to do. We would plant our tree, we'd take care of it, it would produce the fruit. And as she was saying, one thing that, I was asked by somebody, what could y'all do, what could the council do to help? One thing is the water. If somebody wants to plant a tree, it needs to be watered regularly. And the rate of our water is not conducive to a citrus grower making a profit, because we have to keep it watered. And again, a small tree is very susceptible to freeze and frost. In order to get that tree to production at about 5 years, it needs to be protected from freezes. And it takes a good bit of water. Like the last freeze we had, you'd had to run water for about 3 days straight, because you can't just put water in a tree and stop. It'll actually be worse for the tree. You have to run the water through the entire freeze and let the ice form in a tree, form its insulation, and melt off on its own. So that's the only way that I see we could possibly come back from anything is having something like that to help us. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. So why wouldn't you be able to use water straight out the river?
I guess you could, but for one thing, you would need Corps of Engineers, permits. You would, it would probably, a farm my size would probably take $100,000 investment in pipes and pumps and all of that. Like in one of the place I have across from the refinery and grain elevator, I'm a mile off the river. I don't have access to the river, even if I wanted to. I would have to go through other people's property. So
Would the tips by the water not being filtered, would that mess up the tips?
well, it would take a huge filter system too. That'd be a part of the money. Yeah, y'all know how that is with the parish water.
Seemed like the other gentleman wanted to say something.
Let me add something to that. We also have problems if it gets salt.
Okay. And your name, sir?
Ben Senior,
Address? You have to give us.
16198 Highway 23.
Thank you. So what percentage of our citrus trees in Plaquemine Parish has been affected or destroyed?
You got the figures? Right now, every tree is affected. It's not dead, but some of them are. But then when you go to cutting that tree, we found out in the past, if you cut big limbs, it really, when it tries to come back, it takes a toll. Especially if there's no foliage over the bark of that tree, the sun scalds it and blisters that bark and it peels off.
So the process that they're talking about, the Ag Center's talking about, is it shooting the tree with some type of protein? That's a different technique?
That's a different technique. So what we're talking about is just irrigating the trees using mini sprinklers, essentially, that encase the tree in ice, and that's insulative. Are you talking about the injections? Yeah, the OTC injections, that's actually an antibiotic. oxytetracycline, like you would use in veterinary applications. And again, remember, it's a bacterial disease inside the tree. So if you can get the antibiotics into the tree, that can help reduce the symptoms. Now, they're still going to be sick. It's not a cure, but it suppresses some of those symptoms. The problem with what we're seeing now, having seen 5-6 years of data out of Florida on the injections, is every time you inject that tree, which it needs to be done a few times a year, you're actually damaging that tissue inside, and it's further collapsing that vascular tissue. So we're kind of on the fence about whether or not that's best practices now that we've had a few years of data. And it's currently not permitted by Department of Ag and Forestry in Louisiana. However, I am pursuing an emergency exemption, but it takes a lot of work to get that through.
So encasing a orange grove, what would be the cost of that per tree?
Per tree or per acre for
Well,
the
per
netting?
acre.
For the netting, we actually go by the square foot. So I've seen estimates as high as $3 a square foot and as low as 60 cents a square foot. It really depends on the system that you're using. If you're going to use an existing kind of greenhouse structure and just cover that with a netting, the cost comes down significantly. And that's what some of the growers on the North Shore are pursuing, where they have a little psyllid pressure, but here we have a lot of psyllid pressure. So we would, want to pursue that too, where it's sealed completely all year.
We always brag about the taste of our oranges compared to what they doing in, where you say it was?
Well, a lot of our citrus
Poplarville?
comes from, in Poplarville, they actually have 3 growers up there now. But yeah, it's our alluvial soil. Just that same taste you get with the Creole tomatoes, that terroir like they talk about in wine, that's part of what makes them taste so good from down here.
So this infection, is it global?
It is, yes.
So what are other countries? Do you know what other countries are doing?
They're also working on breeding resistant cultivars. It's a global effort. University of Florida and UC Davis in California are leading that effort from the university side in the U.S. They're also planting under these screened enclosures, but again, that costs quite a bit up front, and there's not a lot of grants out there.
It's roughly about $100,000 an acre
Wow.
to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
With hurricanes and floods that we have, it doesn't make sense to me.
So presently, where do our orange juices coming from now?
Well, they're coming from Florida, but they're mostly coming from Brazil. They're shipping containers of OJ to Brazil, and they're mixing it in Florida, adding a lot of sugar to compensate for that bitter flavor. So the sugar content in OJ has actually gone up significantly in the last 20 years.
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay, yeah.
Hello, Ms. Timmerman. We spoke recently. Oh, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to introduce myself, and I want to thank you all for having us. But myself, I'm running out of time. I'm 82, and if I plant an orange tree, I'm going to be almost 90 before I can pick fruit. So I'm personally running out of time. If my son wants to continue, that's going to be for him. So we need something fast done. I don't know if I got that much time left.
Okay. Let's hear the other question.
Okay, Ms. Timmerman, you said that you're asking for the parish to help with removing the trees. Do you know if there's any funding available, federal or state?
There was federal funding available years ago, however, that no longer exists. That was called the Save Our Citrus program through the USDA. Some of you may have remembered that. LDAF also had grant funds to remove infected trees if they came back as a lab result as positive. However, those funds are long gone and not anticipated to continue or come back.
Has LSU Business Department helped you with a business plan for trying to figure this out?
There's very little support for specialty crops under current LSU structure. However, we're starting to see some movement towards a little more support.
Okay, so I guess that's the same for funding for the netting, which we seem to need. And if an individual grower in their own home, you said $3 per square foot.
Yes, yep. And you can buy individual tree bags anywhere from $30 to $120, different size ones. They're doing a little bit of that with dooryard citrus or homegrown citrus in Florida. and it is recommended. But again, with our hurricanes and our storm systems, not just the hurricanes, it's real hard to keep that bag on the tree.
Mr. Becknell, if we could find a way with Ms. Timmerman to assure that a certain crop would be ready in a certain period of time, you could take a loan out and sell your crop in advance. And so what I'm getting at is, I recently was in Kentucky, and they said that they would love to have oranges from us compared to California or Florida. So you might look into that. So what is your ask from us?
We need to do something else with our land.
So you don't want to grow oranges or tomatoes?
Say what now?
Are you saying now you do not want to grow oranges or tomatoes?
Well, that's a possibility. For one thing, we just had replanted our orchard from Ida. That's the third flood we had. I'm right across from the oil refinery. And by the time the USDA takes all of our data, we got to report every orange we pick on every different kind of citrus tree. And they run that through the books. It takes 3 years before we get any money. But the problem also is we get so little bit of money. The first 50% that you lose, they take that off the book. And then the other part, they only pay you a percentage for. So we might wind up getting 10 or 15% of actually what we lose. So every time I lose an orchard, it probably costs me out of my pocket between $40,000 and $80,000, because I've done this so many times, and I saw what we get back compared to what we spend. So it'd be like you going out there and throw your money out in the wind.
So you're talking about the federal programs to resupplement farmers?
That's through the USDA.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize.
It's a NAP, they call it the NAP program.
Okay. Do you have you come up with an answer? Do you have a solution that you would like us to pursue? Do you know what you want? Or are you just asking us to try and figure it out?
Well, the land that we have, we paying taxes on it, but we can't do nothing with it because it's in a floodplain. We're being held down all around. We can't, I don't want to plant an orchard because we got a hurricane season. I just saw today that they're predicting 14 hurricanes for this year. Now, I don't know if we'll get one, but that's more than what we had last year.
Are you asking us to lower your development cost?
Lower what?
Lower your cost. Are you asking us to give you a break on taxes or something? I'm trying to understand exactly what.
Is there something else that we can do?
Grow something else.
Or build something?
Okay.
Is it?
We're in the process right now. Ms. Buck, and the levees that are, if you're talking about in the, in that Laura seat to the
Yes.
Diamond area.
Yes.
You know, those levee projects, I don't think they're going to be 100% complete until sometime in '28. But we're working right now with FEMA. We're not working with FEMA. We're trying to get to FEMA. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're exhausting every effort with every agency, congressman, the governor, to get to FEMA so that we can get these levees in the back certified so that we can get that area out of a floodplain. So that is something that we are working on right now. But again, it's to get to where we need to get to. So that process has started. So that'll help you get out of the floodplain, but that's 28. Our goal is so that when the levees are completed, that process is completed so that, you know, the trigger is pulled on everything. Because we don't want to wait till 28 when they're completed, and then it'll take us another 3 years to make it happen. So we're trying to do things together. Yeah, so.
Thank you,
And I don't know if that can help. It can't help you today, but, you know, that's, we're dealing with government here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna ask the young lady a question, because I know you have the Becknells here. what other sister people we have in Plaquemine Parish being hampered beside the Becknell family?
We actually have a multi-million-dollar industry in the parish, not just with growing the fruit, but growing the nursery trees as well.
Yeah. But here's my question, and what I'm trying to understand, because it seemed like to me, I heard Mr. Becknell talking about how doomed it is, and so it seemed like to me asking us to give water because New Orleans is doing. And what my concern is, if we do give you water, and he's just saying it's a gloom and doom situation, he don't want to waste it, will we really be wasting water, but we don't have no guarantee that that is a total solution? Because that's what I'm hearing him saying at the same time, that he really want to get out because he don't know if that really the
So we
solution.
actually can make the trees healthier even if they are infected, if they're irrigated and protected from frost, which Water Access would provide. And they, in Orleans Parish, they're actually paying for the irrigation water. It's just at a reduced rate. They're not getting charged sewage because they're not putting anything into the sewer, right? They're not getting the fees. So it's a reduced kind of subsidized rate.
Okay. And again, do we know how much of water we talking about supplying and for what period of time it would take? Because, you know, right now we have been serious water pressure in the parish right now. And I heard one of the Becknell saying this water got to be run continuous. And I'm saying right now we have water pressure. We talking about raising people water off. And at the same time, if I'm hearing you acting, we just saying giving out all this water to all the sister grower. I'm just saying, do anybody have an idea to how much water we talking about and how long a period of time they need the water for?
So anytime you use water as an irrigation or as a frost protection tool, it has to run the entire time that frost is active. So as soon as it thaws out, you cut that water off. So this year it would have been 3 days and 3 nights, right? And we're using micro sprayers. It's not like turning a tap wide open. You're looking at maybe like 3 gallons per hour or something like that.
And have you done an amount of water in a 3 days period of time? How much of water we talking about being consumed?
We can do that math if you'd like me to send a follow-up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out economically, what are we talking about, you know, and then would all of them be doing it at the same time at different days?
They would be
Because
doing
to be
it
a
at the
fact, we
same
do have a water pressure problem,
Right.
you know, with it, and you think that would help the problem if we do it?
It would protect them from the catastrophic frost like we saw this year. It'd give them a fighting chance. But also having that irrigation to drip once a week on those new trees, like we recommend at LSU, getting an inch of water on them per week and watering those in, that's going to help get those new groves established that much faster.
The other thing I'm really wondering again, because the senior Becknell would seem like to me, and I might be hearing it wrong, is like really, he want to go into some other kind of business because he's just wondering whether this really going to solve his problem. Putting the water is like throwing the water away. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. Maybe I wasn't hearing it, but that's what I thought I was hearing.
So it's not a panacea. It's not going to fix all our problems. But what I'm saying is it will improve and has been shown to improve some of these problems in other states and even right across some parish lines from here.
Thank you, Mr. Conovich.
Yes, Ms. Timmerman. A couple of years ago, I went and talked with Mike Strain about coming and taking away the abandoned groves, and he was willing to do it. So we contact the state about coming and doing it. Because I know one of the problems he ran into was the owners of the groves. Can we do something to make them?
Yeah, there was a lawsuit in Florida about that, and it came out on the side of the property owners. However, if you are able to talk to them about why it's important to remove those infected trees, which aren't making much of a crop anyway. I mean, y'all, the ferry's out. You drove past a lot of them on your way here, and I'm sure you saw them. Big dead trees.
Sure, nobody's picking any oranges
No.
out of those groves, so.
Dr. Gouy?
There's a lot discussed, and I would like to give my comments on the antibiotic treatment, and we need to stay away from that. I mean, we got enough problems with resistant antibiotics now, and then we implementing more, plus it's not effective. So let's take that off the table. I mean, I'd never support anything like that.
I think there's a lot of consumer pushback on that.
Yeah,
too.
that's, That's terrible. But I think that this water option is something that we should look at, and we should get some numbers. We're not talking about giving free water. We're talking about the water bill not having to deal with the sewer part and all of that. So it would be a reduced rate. But then how much of, not only how much of a reduced rate, but what still would be the cost to the grower? I mean, I don't have an idea on that, but I'd like to see the water angle investigated more, and exactly what that would cost Plaquemines Parish government. And then if we don't do it, what do we lose? If we do it, what do we gain? And that way we could come, I think, that none of us could come to a decision as whether or not that's something that we could do.
You want to respond, sir?
Yes, sir.
You saying what I'm saying?
Same thing you're saying, yeah.
Talking about what Mr. Gowie's talking about. Also, and this might open up another can of worms, but vegetable growers are hurting big time. I know I asked Matt Renanza to be here because he is a citrus and a vegetable grower as well. And I think he told me his water bill this past month was going to be $3,000 for, watering his crops. And yes, right. Yeah, and say the farmers in the parish could really use a break if, on our water. If not, I understand y'all in a position of what y'all have to do as a council, but farming could go away in the parish. I'm being blunt.
And this is why.
Hold on, Doc, let me give you back.
We're looking at an investment, or what's the return on that investment for the whole parish? And Councilman Edwards is right, we got other water problems too, and that's being addressed. I gotta give it to the administration. They are looking at a comprehensive solution to our water problem. We just don't know what it is yet. We don't know what it's gonna cost, how long it's gonna take. But a lot of us don't have a lot of time back. So, it's nice to say, well, in 2008, we're gonna do this, and in 3 years, we can, hell, man, that's too late. What can we do now? And is it something that we could really consider and maybe come to a decision on? Answer might be no, but at least we would be basing it on some numbers. And LSU could do that for us. Yeah, and if you guys agree, and most of us agree, we're not walking out of here empty. Because if we walk out of here empty, we just wasted all our time. So let's walk out of here with something in hand that we can come back and say, in a short period of time, we can have at least a plan for you, and then we can put our minds to work and see how to, that would be my approach.
That's my sentiment, Dr. Gouy. Mr. LaFrance, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just wanted to thank y'all for coming. I wanted to bring y'all up here so we can bring awareness to the council and to the government exactly what is going on. And as we was traveling, coming to the courthouse, I called Mr. Champagne. I said, Mr. Champagne, look at these orange trees while we coming down. I said, they're all dead. They're all dead. So, again, like I mentioned to some of my council members, I said, we have an orange festival. I said, but I'm out here afraid our orange going to have to come from Florida or California, somewhere. So, but again, thank y'all for coming. I know it's not easy coming all the way from, you have to come to catch the Bellchase Ferry and then come all the way down here. But also, Mr. Beck, I don't know if you want to mention it, but me and you have spoke about, you would like to let the council know how much you paid in pesticide and fertilizer, what your bill was?
My bill for pesticide and fertilizer was $42,500 before we even did anything. And we bought it right after the freeze because we get all of our stuff out of Florida, and I get it on one truck, and I save on shipping. And so I don't know if we're going to pay for pesticide and fertilizer this year with the little bit of oranges that are now left on the tree. When they bloom, they look pretty good, but the trees aren't happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy at all.
And right now, you know, as a tomato grower, you're fighting different insects. Like you was, you know, and you're fighting that chink bug, and the poison that you used this year doesn't work on the chink bugs the following year.
It's possible,
Yeah.
possible.
I just want to say, I want to thank Mr. France for making a serious case for you, and I respect that, but it's still, again, I just think we need some hard numbers, you know, and then I think getting together with the administration, you know, on doing it, and I understand you having a law, but still the fact we got to really look at, we have a constituency, we have a problem, we talking about raising people water bill up, so we really got to really look at the hard number and see what can happen, and I think in terms of there's some cost you might have to pay, giving you a discount or something, but we need to have the hard numbers. I think happen. So I don't know if who's going to take the leadership of that. If you could take the leadership of that, get together with the administration, and then Mr. Franklin come back here and saying, after talking to the administration and all the power that be, this is the way we can help, the way we can help you right now. But we understand your laws, and we have sympathy for it, but we just need some hard numbers to make a decision.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide that from Orleans Parish. We just worked on it, so I have that.
Yeah, but also, if you're gonna use water for your trees, I wouldn't know why would they be paying sewer. They shouldn't be paying that. So,
Well, anyway, that's something that I'm saying that all that need to be worked out, Mr. France, y'all get together and come back to the body, and then we can really make a decision for it. And again, we sympathize and empathize, you know, what you're going through.
and how many orange growers do we have in the parish?
That would be,
On paper, we got about 18. In practice, we've got about 9.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just before they get away, I was just telling Shanta, I said, look, this is an investment that we should, you know, you don't look at it as an expense, but an investment. And thank you, Dr. Gouy, for bringing that to the forefront, because I do look at it like that. So if you don't mind, as you're leaving, Mr. Marco is here, our Director of Economic Development. If you would, get her all your contact information, and maybe we could use her as a conduit with some folks in the administration to help through this.
One other thing, I think our parish flag has oranges on the flag.
Must be another flag, not the one we
The
have.
Sheriff's Department,
Sheriff's Office has got it, yeah. Ours is kind of bland.
thank y'all very much.
Mr. Becknell, don't make funerals right away. You got a while to be here, so don't have to request to leave, okay? Yeah, okay. But be careful how many pills you take. It might excel stuff. Have a good day, man. Can we revert back to the agenda?
3, proclamations. There are none. 4, administration updates.
Good afternoon. Ms. Taylor, she had nothing significant this time around. Under operations, we're still under the core no-dig restriction within 1,500 feet. Pre-storm assessments and preparations in relation to the operations team task are just about complete. We'll continue to be proactive in all aspects of preparation, grass cutting, ditch cleaning, and individual resident complaints and concerns will be handled as soon as possible once we receive them. From Patrick, our Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, the oil spill recovery is still ongoing. He's got a list here of 3,760 barrels oily liquids, 13,397 bags of oily solids. There were 368 personnel that was on the site, and I believe to date, it's 20 million projected costs and growing, up from 15 million as of May the 5th. And he's mentioned something about a regional domestic violence extremist exercise meeting that he was participated in on the 14th. Under public service, In terms of top water projects, Infomark has identified 3 cast iron line replacement projects on the East Bank are the utmost priority. The goal of completing these projects is to help resolve water pressure and brown pressure issues in the Dalcor district. Today, to start Project 1, I believe we're requesting funding to start replacing a segment of English Turn cast iron project. 2 other segments of this project are still requiring funding. It's important to note that all East Bank projects have been designed. All that is needed is funding for construction, which we're pursuing in other multiple ways. Project 2 is the replacement of 2.3 miles of cast iron water line from Stella to Promised Land project. We've already applied for $2 million in funding through the LCDBG, which is the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant. Project 3 is Marks Lane to Bertrandville. We're still trying to identify funding there. We've also identified top projects needing attention on the West Bank. The goal of completing these projects is to help mitigate saltwater intrusion and increase water pressure and volume to the southern end of the parish. Project 1, Cedar Grove to the booster station, Oakville, 20-inch water main. We applied for funding through the Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund, which is DWRLF, for both engineering and construction. The loan funds are 100% forgivable after 5 years. Project 2, Cedar Grove Booster Station to Ravina Road. We're seeking funding through the same loan covering engineering. Project 3, the 20-inch water main under the levees. We're also seeking emergency contaminant funds through the Office of Community Development Grant. Once Cedar Grove and Ravina is designed, we'll approach both the DWRLF and OCD to verify remaining funds within their programs. If approved, we will then seek construction funding from both agencies for an additional loan and grant. Under Ms. Morrison in the Arts and Parks and Recreation, we have procured and are waiting the arrival and installation of 8 new sets of bleachers, 6 shades, and a new sign at the Albert Ray Saez baseball quad. Install is slated for 6 to 8 weeks from today. We'll conduct a community event upon project completion. We are also pleased to announce the creation of the Plaquemines Arts, Parks, and Recreation Foundation, Incorporated. This foundation will assist with developing an additional funding stream to complement the work of the Arts, Parks, and Recreation Department. Ms. Morrison will have more details as follows as we work effectively to select board members and to launch this foundation. Coastal Zone and Ms. Buck, floodgate exercises are being scheduled for the hurricane season. 2 of them, which is Highway 23 at Oakville and the Hero Stop Log. Spanish Pass Increment 2 was presented last week at the Coastal Week in Baton Rouge, which is the extension of a project that we completed about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. It's extending it further east, or west, I'm sorry. The DA's office has our first case against individuals who did criminal damage to our levees. This is setting the precedence that PPG, PPSO, and the DA's office has taken these offenses very seriously, and we will prosecute. Mr. Marco, as we approach the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, the Plaquemines Parish Tourism Commission is honored to announce the creation of a commemorative memorial at Fort Jackson Museum. The Tourism Commission invites residents, families, and friends who experienced the storm and its aftermath to contribute artifacts and stories of resilience. Personal accounts, photographs, mementos, and any artifacts that hold significant to the memorial will be invaluable in creating a powerful tribute. Plaquemines Parish is participating in Keep Louisiana Beautiful program with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. This program focuses on promoting best practices for litter prevention, reduction, beautification, and recycling, waste reduction, and sustainability. This is something that Lieutenant Governor Nungesser pushes real hard, and you know Billy can be kind of very boisterous, so he throws out the challenge flag all the time. I've talked to Jerry. We're going to embrace Dr. Ritz with the school system, because it's not just a matter of picking up trash and keeping our highways clean, but it's education also. I think there's a program, they take one of the, like a third grade class or your fourth grade class, and that's where they start educating the children on, you know, the adversities of litter and all, so that if you can get the children aware of not to litter, maybe they'll call out their parents if they're littering. So, but again, like I said, you know Billy, he can be really loud and he challenges me all the time. So I ask if we could, as the administration and as the council, work together on this and really take this serious. I know, Mark, you take it, as all of you do, but I know you go above and beyond, you know, with your love for the fort and everything like that. So we appreciate that. With Brad, under the Director of Projects, the Port and the Plaquemines directors are in continuous contact with DOTD on keeping this project moving as quickly as possible and providing updates. The Peters Road project. Now that BKI has been awarded the project, our next step is for the port and the parish to have an in-person meeting with BKI to establish direct contacts and to build this relationship. That has already started. I've been in communication with Mike Chopin and BKI on pretty much on a weekly basis since they've been selected for that project, and we're going to continue to have that. On a lovely subject, the Bell Chase Bridge tolling. As we know, the tolling started May the 14th. You know, our team, along with Ms. McCarty, we had an internal meeting with Plenary on May 19th to discuss their accountability on the near future projects. We discussed the timeline for the next phase of construction, which is the X Street project. The project is currently in the excavating phase and should take 3 to 4 months. That's where you see the sheet pile on both sides on the right end, on the going north lanes there. Once that excavation is completed, the completion of the complete project should take another 16 weeks after that. Also, Grant Major Solis, I believe it is, he was there with us, and we reiterated that road closures can only be at night and that we would monitor this closely. We also shared we would like to, you know, any kind of announcements that we get them pretty well in advance so that we can notify the public as far as any lanes closed. And then we shared that we're receiving many complaints from the constituents and now directing them to customer service at GoPass. So, I mean, we get, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 a day, but it's kind of slowed down, but we are getting complaints on the tolling and just the fact that they really weren't ready to start doing that. On Coast Guard Road, we continue to work on trying to find outside funding to help us with our match. The 911 call center, we had a meeting this week with Dalton and Associates, and we're close to completing the preliminary design. I asked, and they said in about 4 weeks, we should be able to put it out to bid. Also in our capital outlay up in Baton Rouge, we're asking for $2 million through Public Safety Answering Point to help fund the telecommunications equipment, and we're close to getting that approved. In addition, our Director of Projects is closely working with Rostam on recouping content funding through FEMA from Hurricane Ida. If approved, this will assist with the supplement of equipment. We're finding different projects that weren't even on the table, but now they are, and these are projects that have been paid for through our government, and we're looking at refunds, right? The animal shelter, Brad has also been working real close with Brocade Design and the LASPCA for the final timeline and the plans. We're close to having that done as well. And just by letting them know that, you know, the SPCA just can't, it's not an open checkbook with them. They think they do, but they don't, so, but that's where we are.
Thank you. Public comments? Name, address, rank, file number?
Social Security.
They were not the Social Security. Clarence Brown,
Yeah, give us that social security.
156 Edith Campbell Lane, Phoenix, Louisiana. That was a lot. The president gave us this now, although he was giving it for everybody up there, I think. But I caught that when the Black Nails was here. I did notice that he said that's the area on the West Bank that they're working on, and by 2028, they might have levees that's big enough and put in that area to eliminate the flood zone thing that people might be able to put their homes on solid ground. I did hear that. I think that's what I heard. If I didn't, you can correct me. So, it still got to be elevated, even if they say they're going to put levees in there and they're working on it, trying to get it. That'll.
I got a 21-foot levee.
Oh, no.
That's what I got out of it.
No.
I was saying if that could be done, that we're making some progress. So evidently, that's not what he said. All right. And also on the water pressure, they were talking about water pressure. A couple of days ago, a young lady called me and asked me come check the toilet. They couldn't flush the toilet, and that was and I went down and checked it out for her. And I said, "Why you calling me?" She said, "Well, everybody said call me because I know a little bit about this water pressure problem." I said, "Well, they had a meeting, so they had a lot of people at the council. at the town hall meeting, so they know also." But and the problem was, I went to the plant, by the water plant, and the guy, nobody was there. So I told him, I said, they're working on, right now they're running off tower pressure, and they could not even run their water to take a bath or flush the toilet that evening. So that is a problem that we're having down here. And I just want to let y'all know that is a problem. And then when I was like 7 o'clock, they did not have no water in the house. So I checked a couple of other houses, it was running real slow also. So we have a problem down here with the water being ran off of tower pressure at night. Thank you.
Mr. Brock, please get, Mr. Brock, right here. Please get with me and give me that information, time, date,
Yeah.
and I'll follow up on that. But if you get any calls from anyone for any type of water issues, please have them call Infomark, because all of that data is collected, and we really need to collect that data for our use.
Yeah, I remember when you told us to do all that, and I also told us, say, if you want water pressure, we got to get industries to come in this area. Then the industries cannot come not on the water pressure that we have. So we got to get industries in here to get more water pressure. So, but I will let them know and send that information to you. Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience? Mitch?
Yes, Port Sulphur Water Plant update. Are we completed?
We did the substantial completion walkthrough last week. Of course, there is some check items that they have some items that they check. But I just saw this morning that, I'm sorry, let me pull it up right quick. The substantial completion went out actually this morning. The letter of substantial completion for Port Sulphur electrical improvements. The letter's been executed by Trigon, and it'll be reviewed and signed by Barnes. So all of that happened this afternoon, actually. So that project is essentially substantially completed.
Okay, good. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Conover.
Yes, Jeff, do you know anything about the sewage problem they got in Venice with the pipe collapsed and getting the road?
Yes, I actually, when I saw that, I followed up. I actually spoke with the consultant that's working on that. They should have somewhat of a complete design sometime in the next week. I know it's been taking quite a while, but I followed up with him actually before the meeting today. As soon as we get some type of design in hand, I'll let you know, but that should be happening in the next week.
We might need to check maybe 2 other spots further up the road. There's same thing starting to happen.
Send them along to me and/or Infomark, and we'll get engineering and Infomark, everybody involved.
Thank you. And Katrina in the museum, if anybody has any pictures, we're supposed to meet Wednesday at the museum with the tourism board, and they want to get people, if you have pictures or stories, and they'll, might video you and put you on a kiosk, or, run it. But if anybody has it, could come to me at a museum and we'll get it put in. Thank you.
That's related to Hurricane Katrina.
Yes, sir.
Our fireman,
Jeff, what did you find out with the Cox dig? Since they hit a line, I asked last meeting, can we prevent that company? I mean, this isn't the first time. This probably won't be the last time. I think they hit 4 times in the last 2 years, at least.
I agree with you. We should drop the hammer on any of these contractors that have issues like that. But we need to come up with some type of legal compensation on that.
I'm going to keep asking until we get an answer. What is the status of the new water billing system? I told you at the internal audit committee meeting that every month I'm going to start asking.
I thought I included that. We did pick a company at Harris and Preza. We reviewed 3 different sites. I say we, myself, Infomark, and the billing team. We picked a vendor. Legal just reviewed the contract, and we're going to go over the contract, get that contract signed, and get that moving. The implementation is going to take a while.
I know that.
There's a lot of data involved, but we have picked a vendor and we're moving forward with it.
Okay, and then, Mr. President, going forward, if we could have at least the 4 Belchase council members, any dealings with the bridge, with tolling and everything, because we're getting all the complaints also. So we need to at least be aware of what's going on, where we can let our residents know when they call us. So if you could in the future deal with the bridge.
That's not a problem. I think
Thank you.
you guys were on that thread this morning with Senator Connick, right?
Some of us were, some of us weren't, but I emailed him and copied all the Belchase council members and let him know, but then I didn't know y'all had a meeting, so just where we're all on the same page.
That's good. Now, we can do that.
Thank you.
my technician friend.
I don't know about very technical, but, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. President, just a little note I took. So, the 911 center that we talking about, I know they're like I said, it's been going on, and you're pushing them. We don't have an estimated cost yet, do we? Because I don't know what it's gonna. I got a share over there, huh? Get y'all some more mics. Randy, give up yours.
You have 2 estimated costs, one for the construction side and one for all the electronics and radio communication side. And it's roughly $4 million total for everything. So $2 million, we started with construction stuff.
Okay.
And the monies he talked about earlier in his address was the $2 million for all the communication side of it, which we hope is grant money that we don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
Well, it's $2 million in the capital outlay, which is in priority 1. So
Oh, that's a good thing. That's
looking good.
So I know we got some money set up in from the sale of the Popish building. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
Have we, because the 911, Plaquemines Parish shares 911, I guess, with the sheriff's department. Have we reached out to those folks to put up some funds to, if they have any available grant money or stuff like that for that? Now, and I'm saying, I'm looking for an answer, just an avenue to proceed so we can so we can kind of,
Answer is yes, they've been part of that.
okay, thank you. Jeff, on the software issue, I know we, you know, it's pretty intense, but let me think. On 20, I know we had passed legislation when we raised the water bill back in 23 to put in there an increase in the CPI for January 25, which I'm assuming hadn't happened, I guess. So is that part of the,
That's happening June 1st. It's gonna be put on the next bill.
what is our what is the rate gonna be, do you know?
2.95, I believe.
3%, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine, okay. All right, thank you, that's all I have, thank you.
I'm getting ready to send all the council members, including the administrators, the notes from that meeting. The reason I didn't send it out earlier is I've been waiting on the contact information for property damage, like if your car got spray painted or something like that when you went over the bridge, or your house is falling apart. I just received that this morning. And I lost track. There was another reason that something else you had said earlier, and if it comes back to me, I'll.
Is she, no, I don't think she finished. Yeah, she finished. Oh, it's finished? Okay. To Champagne?
I know we're talking a lot about water, and we made some promises that, quite frankly, we just can't keep. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but, and I will tell you, the administration's done a good job. They put together a plan, and I've read it twice. I'm reading it a third time to make sure I fully understand it. And it's good, you know. But number one, we need to stick to the plan. And right now, it's a plan we can't afford. You know, our water system total replacement runs just at $288 million. That's more money we'll ever have in our lifetime. So we have to follow the plan, and we have to do it methodically and repair those areas that need to be repaired. Not what feels good, not what sounds good, what needs to be repaired. And right now, I don't even think we can make those repairs because we're not looking at where we are financially. For instance, the millage didn't pass. So we're short $2 million to begin with. This has to do with water. Oil, we budgeted for $70 a barrel. It's trading at $64 a barrel and falling. He just had 60, it was 64 this morning, it's falling. And when sanctions come off of Russia, you can believe it's going to drop significantly because they're going to start trading. So there's more oil on the market. So we need to get our house in order here. We've been asking for the cost to produce water versus the revenue we take in for months now. We've yet to receive it. I don't know what it costs. Now, I don't care how it's broken down. All we need is 3 lines. How much we make, what does it cost, how much we take in, and what's that delta? What's that difference? I don't know that. So as a good steward of the taxpayers' money, I'm afraid to spend a dime right now because I don't know what that gap is. I know it's significant, but we don't know. We passed ordinance 23-47 that required by law a consumer price index to be in place January 1, 2025. That's it. Now we're talking about June, 6 months later. Again, I'm not confident that we were going to be there in June because, you know, this is complicated stuff. We're admitting it is, and I'm admitting it is. But to say that we have shovel-ready projects we're going to spend money on, I don't think we're there. Now, we mentioned the community development block grant money of $2 million. That's great, and I want every dime to go to water. But I think we need to wait. We need to be prudent and wait for that grant to come in. Have a timeline. When do we expect that to happen and whether or not we think it'll happen so we can at least forecast. To spend another dime on water, we could. I'm reading the plan. They have 3 shovel-ready projects on the East Bank to replace cast iron pipes, which are sorely needed. What if we go to the wrong one? We fix this one, and right down the street, we have a major rupture in the cast iron pipes. We're not gonna have any money to fix it because we're broke. Right now, we're broke on paper when it comes to water. So I want to fix all this stuff, but I want to do it right. This is a dang good plan. It's very good. And when you look at it, the years 1 through 5, it has some big price tags and a lot of good stuff for the East Bank. One of them being a 4 million gallon water tank. We don't have $4 million to do this water tank right now. I guess my point is, first of all, we need to stick to this plan, but we got to understand where we are realistically with with water. I asked Robert Morgan to be here from Infomark because I don't expect Mr. DeMarco to know the answers to this because he's got a lot, he's juggling a lot of balls. He has a lot of responsibilities. But the subject matter expert could be here and help us kind of refine some of this stuff and talk about it. I want to get this right because we can ill afford to invest what little bit of revenue I think we have on the wrong project. So my recommendation is for us to understand this community development block grant, grab the $2 million and put it in the right place because we need it. People should be able to flush their toilets. Mr. Brock, I agree with you. And we need to make sure that it's being managed properly and we do the right thing because heaven forbid we invest in the wrong location and we still have the same problems and we're X amount of dollars. We have X amount of dollars left to spend because we spent it in the wrong spot. Just want to do it right. So again, this plan is good. I think we need to really focus on this thing, really take our time to tighten it up a little more and do the right project. With that, I yield.
I'm glad that come up about the text about the bridge. I was in it, and I didn't know who sent it at first, but the person who sent it called me when I put in there to take me off of it because they had people in that text. It was from PAB and other organizations, and some of these council members wasn't on it. And just like the text Mr. McCarty sent just now, there's a number on the end. I don't know who it is, so, to send,
He's about to, Mr. Kingfish, Ms. Carter, and Mr. Marco.
but, again, before Bobby gets anything, we should get it. And I got on Pat about it too.
That text chain I'm talking, that came from Senator Connick, right?
He called me about it, and I told him where I stood on it.
All right, so
And before they get,
but you're looking directly at me here. It's like,
they the reasons we got that toll, and we was trying to fight against it, and they had people sitting up here that wouldn't vote for us to go fight it, and that's why we failed at the end when this group did pass it. And about the water, can I ask you where you got that book?
I had one book and I gave it to him.
Because I'd like one.
But it was emailed to all of us.
Never emailed to me. Might have went to District 9, but I don't.
Well, what I'm saying is, it was emailed to everyone, Mark. Well, I'll get you a book.
Thank you.
I'll give you this one. Oh, you got two?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
They emailed it to
I'm
me.
sorry?
If I could.
Yes.
Last, to answer you, one of your concerns, Councilman Champagne, last Thursday morning, I emailed out to everyone, Councilman Konovich, I want to get with you about email, because I send some things and evidently that they're getting lost in the shuffle to you. So I'd like to confirm what I have. We'll do that after the meeting. But I sent out some documents. I've been working with a consultant that is contracted by Infomark on what you've been asking for, Councilman Champagne, on water and wastewater cost summary. I sent that out last Thursday. I'll be happy to send it out again. It's just basic information that gives you a rough idea of where we are, where we were with the millage, and our shortcomings without the millage, and where we would be with some rate increases. So I'll be happy to share that with you guys and discuss it. But I did send that out last Thursday, but I'll be happy to send it out again. Thank you.
Anyway, I want to get back to this book that Mr. Champagne said, and his words were very flowery, but it's a day late and a dollar short. Seemed like that project should have been brought forward at the very beginning when we started using emergency funds. And so here, 2 years later, I'm getting this plan, stick to this plan. So obviously we wasn't sticking to the plan at all, because if we would, we wouldn't be where we at right now. So to me, that's a day late and a dollar short, in terms of talking about that plan. But I want to go back, and I really was very appreciative at the beginning of the meeting that the administration was stating the case for the need, for the emergency situation we have on the East Bank. And I'm hoping that this is not an argument before we get to the ordinance that I have on it, but I want to stay on the case that you all made. So I'm really glad of that. After the last meeting, I had a conversation with Jonah, who told me he reached out to really get people to explain what was really happening, to understand what we're trying to do with the East Bank. So anyway, I want to commend the administration for taking the time at the beginning of your message to state that case. Okay, directors, somebody on, I think you spoke already.
In that meeting when we had Infomark, I requested if we could have some sandbags placed around the fire hydrants in people's personal yards where we washed away the land because we had to run the water extra long to prevent contamination. Is that going to happen?
That's going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Champagne.
Yeah, I will tell you, Jeff, we did get this thing, and unless you've got a PhD in water, you not understanding this thing, because it's all kind of fancy graphs and crazy stuff on here. Now, I say crazy, it's just a lot of data, but none of it's compiled. Again, all we need is 3 lines. How much does it cost for us to make water per month? How much do we take in? What's the gap? That's all we need. The only thing I did find interesting is the 55 water companies they show in here, we're at the very bottom in terms of cost per gallon of produce, which is good news. We make cheap water here. So if anybody says they're overpriced here, out of the 55 companies we got here, we're number 50 at lowest. So we don't charge much for water. So, that's the one good piece I got out here. But again, we need something easily digestible so we can share it with our constituents for them to be able to understand. Thank you.
By the way, I want to get back, Jeff, just on the record, we're getting ready to run the summer camp, and as you know, the air conditioning at Reverend Griffin is on and off. So just in terms of emergency, I was wondering, can we have some backup fans sitting there permanent? So if the air conditioning goes out, they still can run the program. I don't know the process. I know we had those big, large fans there before, so I was just saying it'd be good if we could just have some of them on standby for the summer camp.
I'll look into that. If we could put our hands on them, we'll bring them down. I have engaged, am I on?
Okay.
I have engaged with Entergy, and I asked my HVAC tech to give me a little assessment of what's going on with those units. There's 3 units down there at the Percy Griffin Center, 2 larger units, which both are about 3 years old, so they're new units. And one of the units, it's a smaller unit. We're getting a quote to replace that one. That one needs to be replaced. But the answer from the HVAC tech, as far as what's going on, and I'll read this. The intermittent issues with the 2 new large units are attributed to power fluctuations from Entergy. When power dips, spikes, or experiences brief interruptions, the VFDs, which is the variable frequency drive, may occasionally trip. This occurs because the motor is currently operating and running during the power outage. If the power returns on while the motor is still rotating, the VFD receives a feedback from the motor indicating a voltage abnormality. We have implemented the appropriate settings to minimize the frequency of shutdowns while simultaneously safeguarding the equipment. This safety feature is crucial to prevent the potential destruction of a multi-$1,000 motor. And every time we have to reset those units, it's the same alarm. It's fluctuation in the voltage coming into the building. So I've engaged Entergy. They're going to put a voltage monitor on the building and also clean up. Well, that's our request. They did say they're going to come put a voltage monitor on the building. It'll stay there for about 2 weeks, and it'll record the voltage and the fluctuation of the voltage coming into the building. every alarm, every time that unit trips, it's because of that. It's not the units themselves. So Entergy is engaged, and I stress the importance of getting that done sooner rather than later. So I look for that voltage meter, and hopefully, we had the same issues down at Port Sulphur at the Freeport building and the YMCA last year, and they had to clean up some contacts on the transformers. And I don't think we've had as many issues since then. So I hope this solves this problem at the community center as well.
Thank you for all the help on that. I want to clear Patty, get Patty. Yeah, clear me off.
I remember the first comment that I wanted to make. It's in regard to a statement that St. Joseph made about the,
I know.
Hold on, we're trying to get it.
okay, it's in regard to the comment about the cable company digging. And so, you remember last year, we lost water because a cable company dug, and we lost it for over a week in Fort St., or at least a week in Fort St. Leon. So I was going down Belchuse Highway, and I noticed in Mr. Schultz's district, they were parked on my property, trespassing, and digging a hole. So I stopped, and I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "Well, we called 811 to see if we could dig." And I said, "Who gave you permission to dig right here?" You know, because it's my property for first off. And then I said, "Oh, really? Because we don't have 811 in our parish." You know, so it was just but we don't have the maps for 811 in our parish. So our maps are not digital, they're analog, is what I'm saying. They have to call administration to find out where the pipes are. That's what I learned when they broke the lines in my district. So anyhow, I just wanted to make you aware of that. No, it's yours.
Okay.
Not the Exxon.
We good?
Okay, yeah, we're good.
Can we now convert back to the next agenda item?
6, beer and liquor licenses, 6A, Family Dollar Store,
It's gonna be, council members, can we hear?
Okay, sorry.
31682, 36175, Highway 23, Buras, Louisiana. Family Dollar Store, 29062, 9579, Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. Family Dollar Store, 23518, 28534, Highway 23, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Softball Sundays starting at 1 o'clock p.m. and ending at 6 o'clock p.m. on May 25th, 2025 through July 20th, 2025, located at Dadeland Park. Councilmember Edwards.
Second, Ms. Oppen, second. Any comments from the audience, administration? The table? Machine is open. And passes 9-0.
7 building permits, 7, we're gonna do in Globo.
I don't know if we're gonna do this global, because I know we got some information in from the permit office about, I think she had from B to H, and there was some questions she sent in about M. So I mean, if everybody good with it, we can go with it, but,
B through H.
yeah, B through H.
A&M Lodging and Storage LLC, Mark Majori, Senior, Permanent Trailer Park Renewal, 42136 Highway 23, Louisiana. Delta Dragon RV Park LLC, Angie Majori, Permanent RV Park Renewal, Finnegan Lane, Venice, Louisiana. Falcon Crest Trailer Park Number 1, Gary Falcon, Permanent RV Park Renewal, Falcon Loop, Empire, Louisiana. Falcon Crest Trailer Park Number 2, Gary Falcon, Permanent RV Park Renewal, Falcon Crest Lane, Triumph, Louisiana. River Oaks RV Park, Billwood Smith, Permanent RV and Trailer Park Renewal, 26287, Highway 23, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. River Oaks West LLC, Billwood Smith, Permanent RV Park Renewal, 26296, Highway 23, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Rogaroo RV Parks, Aaron Hayes, Permanent RV Park Renewal, 41162, Highway 23, Boothville, Louisiana.
Offer.
So offered.
Offered and second. Any comments from the audience? Administration table? Machine is open for voting. And it passes with 7 yes votes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. Next item, please.
We doing in globo for these?
I would go,
No, I would go from J to I.
I through L.
Landrum Development LLC, Paula Landrum, Commercial Boat Shed in A2 zoning district, 11407A, Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. Landrum Development LLC, Paula Landrum, Commercial Boat Shed in A2 zoning district, 11407B, Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. Landrum Development LLC, Paula Landrum, Commercial Boat Shed in A2 zoning district, 11407C, Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. Landrum Development LLC, Paula Landrum, Commercial Boat Shed in A2 zoning district, 11407D, Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana.
Let's stop there.
I'll offer next for a second.
It's been offered by Councilman Newsom, second by Councilman Mitch. Any comments from the audience? Administration, Mr. Newsom?
Yes, everybody's pretty, excuse me, spoke to Mr. Mitra about this and asked, this is, going where, right past south of the Captain Larry, south of the flood wall, they had some, boat sheds there, and they're just looking, put some more in, as you can see, A, B, C, and D. So that's what this is about. Thank you.
Okay. If there's no other comment, the machine is open for voting. And it passes 9-0. Can we just take M by itself?
Pauline Manuel, trailer residence in a FP zoning district, 126 Braddock Street, Port Sulphur, Louisiana, Councilmember LaFrance.
So often.
Second.
It's been offered by Councilman LaFrance, second by Councilman Newsom. Is there any comments from the audience, from the administration? Table? Machine is open for voting. Okay. And it passes 8-1 abstention. Next item.
P&M Fireworks, Paul Tozan, fireworks stand renewal for 2025-420 Harvey Boulevard, Belchase, Louisiana, Councilmember McCarty.
Second. Motion second. Any comments from the audience? From the administration, the table. Machine is open for voting. And it passes 9 with no. Zero.
So,
8, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
And then M was 8-1. And then this one is 9-0 again.
You okay?
Proceed. I'm sorry.
The following ordinance is being filed under Councilmember Edwards, an ordinance to amend the 2025 manpower structure and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next 4 are for Councilmember Champagne. An ordinance to amend 24-64, amended by ordinance number 24-205, and readopt regulations relative to temporary recreational vehicle parks and sites and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to enact section 21-118 violation and penalty of the Parish Code of Ordinances to provide for enforcement regulations relative to the trailer park ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend section 21-141 titled Violation and Penalty of the Parish Code of Ordinances as amended, readopt the same, providing for enforcement regulations relative to recreational vehicle parks and sites and campgrounds and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2025 Road Maintenance Fund operating expenditure budget, road maintenance, public right-of-way department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next 1, 2, 3, are for Councilmember LaFrance. A resolution requiring the presence of Mr. Robert Morgan or his designee from Infomark to attend all regularly scheduled Plaquemines Parish Council meetings to provide updates on the parish water system and answer questions from the parish council and respond to inquiries from the public and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, telecommunications department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution requesting the administration conduct a minimum 3 town halls for public input relative to the administration's proposed zoning district classification map changes and text amendments to enact a new article, MU Mixed Commercial Industrial District, and amend Article 1, I-13 Heavy Industrial District, and Section 3, definition of ordinance number 142, the comprehensive zoning ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next ones are for Councilmember Jurasich. An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Buford Holdings LLC, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision, lots 1A1, 1B, and 1C of Plot 1, Cedar Grove Division, into lots 1-B, Cedar Grove Division by Bryant Hammond and Associates, certified by Hugh McCurdy III, PLS, dated March 13, 2025, the owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to rescind, annul, and set aside ordinance number 24-114 adopted on January 11th, 2024, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution appointing a replacement member to the Plaquemines Parish Tourism Commission and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And then we have 2 more. These 2 are also for Councilmember, this one will be for Councilmember LaFrance. A resolution to initiate zoning district classification map changes pursuant to Section 12 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, to amend the Comprehensive Zoning District map therein adopted and amended, of Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And the final one is a resolution to initiate text amendments pursuant to Section 12 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Map, and the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, to enact proposed new MU Mixed Commercial Industrial District and amend Article L 1-3 I-3 Heavy Industrial District and Section 3 definitions of ordinance number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And one more for Councilmember Kognovich, an ordinance to amend and as amended readopt ordinance number 23-41, Section 13-147 exclusions, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that is it.
Thank you. Hope you can take a deep breath and get your wind back. Okay, may we proceed?
Do you want to go over the agenda, the deferrals?
Yeah.
Anybody? Deferrals? Any deferrals?
Any deferrals?
Uh-oh.
To withdraw?
Item R and item Q.
Got you already, she's psychic.
Yeah.
Anyone else besides Mitch have any withdrawal?
The withdrawals, right?
Yes.
Okay. Not anything else? Oh, I'm sorry, all right, Councilman LaFrance.
For G and H. Did we get the report? Send a copy to me.
So you're withdrawing G and H? Deferred, okay. Any other? Okay.
9, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 9A, ordinances and public hearings pursuant to Article 6, Section 601E of the Plaquemines Parish Charter. 9A1, an ordinance to amend and amended to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted by reference, and which is paragraph thereto with reference to application number 2025-570 dated March 14, 2025, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
Second.
Offer, Mr. France, second by Councilman McCarthy. Any comments from the audience? The administration, Mr. LaFrance, you have the floor.
That's it.
That's it? Any other comments from the table? Machine is open for voting. And it successfully passed 9-0. Next item, please.
9A2, an ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Wharves and Docks Company LLC, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision Lot 1A of Plot 1, Cedar Grove Division, into Lots 1A1 and 1A2, Cedar Grove Division, by Bryant Hammond and Associates, certified by U. McCurdy III, PLS, dated March 13, 2025, the owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Juristich.
Offered, majority second by Councilman Kanovich. Any comments from the audience, administration, table? Machine is open for voting. And it's successfully passed 9 with no opposition. Next item, please.
B, an ordinance establishing the expenditure authorization for the parish president and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Kotnovich.
Offer for discussion by Councilman Kanovich. Second by Mitch. Who's leading the discussion?
Okay, there's 18 on Laserfish. Where's the other 570, 68? Because that's what Mr. Duke, he's looking into on the audit.
First of all, there are not 500 contracts, so I put the ones that we've had from the president's office. I know Dana's still reaching out to some of the other departments and stuff to add some of the ones they have. We do not have 500 contracts. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know what you mean in the history of the parish.
I don't think he's doing the history of the parish neither.
There ain't no way. There ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I brought the 16 at the last meeting to him, and I asked him about it.
If he's asking, if you're counting purchase orders as contracts, maybe so. But
on another note, why do we have to ask anybody, any other divisions about what they have? A couple of years ago, we voted for you to have all the contracts in your office.
That's what
you should have a folder on your desktop. All you need to do is grab that folder and put it in. Because I don't need to pick and choose which ones I get to see.
Like I said, the contracts the president signs, I have in my office. There are some contracts that have been in departments a long time that she's requested and is requesting. And I mean, like I said, I don't know what to say beyond that. I mean, if you want to get a vendor list and look at the vendor list and tell me which vendors, whatever, and I can let you know if that was done by. So a lot of it's purchase orders. I mean, there's no way we have 500 contracts. I mean, I look at.
I went to
1-2 contracts, maybe 1 or 2 a month here or there. I mean, we don't.
I'll have to ask him the years, but he pulled up his audit that he's doing about the professionals.
Who's this, Mr. Duke you talking about?
Yes,
okay. Well, if you want to send me.
68, I think it was.
What's that?
I think he had 568.
If you want to pull it, let me know. I mean, that has got to include projects from over a decade ago, not active live contracts. I mean, I can tell you right now, there are not that many contracts. In my last 6 years, I haven't signed, the president hasn't signed more than 100. I mean, And that's going back to Mr. Lepine's administration, so I don't know. I mean, I'll look at the audit and see what he's got, but that's just not accurate. Now, if he's counting purchase orders as a contract, then yeah, you're gonna probably have upwards of several hundred. But those aren't contracts that the president signs. Each director has authority up to, I don't know how many thousand, 10,000, more than that, to issue purchase orders. And that may be what he's talking about. But those aren't like contracts that legal reviews. Those are just regular purchasing that takes place throughout the course of the year.
I know his audit is for professional service contracts.
Well, if you want to forward me his audit,
Asking.
if you want to forward me the audit that you're talking about, I'll be happy to look at it. I mean, like I said, and if there's stuff on there that we haven't provided or, is still open, then that's fine.
He's doing the audit right now, but
I'm sorry?
he's doing the audit right now, and
Okay.
I brought him the 16 that you first put on there, and he said, I can tell you that's not all the contracts.
Well, like I said, Dana's getting a few, but there are not 100. How many you said? 100?
568.
500?
I don't think this night will be 50.
It's not 500 contracts. I can tell you that right now.
I mean, here's
Maybe he's talking about invoice. Yeah, is he talking about invoices or?
invoices now. I mean, that could be.
Well, I got the
Is he talking about
over $5,000, and there's 41 pages of it.
Right.
maybe he's talking about certificates of pay? Maybe he's talking about I mean, the president has not signed.
I really haven't. Like I said, I haven't signed. I bet I'd be hard pressed to say I've signed 50, maybe 25.
I'll call Mr. Duke tomorrow and ask him about.
Yeah, forward me the audit. Forward me the audit.
Well, he's still got it. He just pulled it up on his computer and said,
Okay.
told me what he had.
Yeah, I'll be happy to look at it, but I can tell you what, I'd need more attorneys if we were looking at that many contracts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
C, an ordinance to amend the 2025 operating revenue and expenditure budgets and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Kotnovich, and this has changes.
On line 1, we're removing revenue and. On line 11, same thing, removing revenue and also inserting an S on expenditure budgets. I'm sorry, no, we're just removing it. We're removing the plural of budgets in R, and we are inserting is. And then on line 18, in the chart, we are removing object number 250, legislative liaison, general, and decrease, the amendment is being decreased by 76,000, has been removed. And so, okay.
Been offered up for discussion and by Ms. Conovich, second by Mitch. Proceed with your discussion, Mr. Conovich.
Can you tell me if he's gotten us anything yet?
I'm gonna tell you, the group that we've got that working with us now, they are going to. We'll see at the end of this session, and you'll see what we're doing. And this is the reason I am where I am today is because I can tell you, I've told Rochelle to get you Dan Robbins' contract, to get you a contract from Principal, get you a contract from Mercury, and now get you the contract from Conic. Now, Robin, Principal, and Mercury, no longer under contract because they weren't producing. This firm is producing right now. And I can get with you and show you where we are. But we won't have the final answer. We've got 2 more weeks in session right now. So we're fighting this every day. This group, they are up there. And is Guy McGinnis in the Conic group? Yes, he is, okay? Guy McGinnis was with the Principal group early in. We brought him on board because he sat on the CPRA board. And when we were fighting the diversion, it was good to have him because he was in touch with Chairman Dove. So he got us in those rooms But now he's working with the Conic Group, which he is doing a very good job of getting us, he got us into a meeting with Cameron Henry last year, and they weren't even under contract, the Conic Group. And we ended up getting $1.5 million just from that one meeting for the Peters Bypass Road. This year, it's multiple areas. The $450,000, we've got a contract right now for DOTD. I believe Ashley may have delivered that yesterday, or will deliver it tomorrow. That's for, we went from 180,000, 4 cuts a year. I told him we need 10 cuts a year. With his help, we sat down with Senator Connick and President Cameron Henry, and has done that. These are the things that they're working and they're helping us do. Representative Bro will tell us, you know, we can go up there ourselves, any one of us, we can all go together. But Jacob is saying, guys, you need a good lobbyist, you need a good representative up there. We can do all we want, like Jacob, he can do all he can, but he's one of 105 members. These lobbyists up there, they tend to have a relationship. And this group, with the Conic Group that we're working with right now, they're producing. And we'll see. I'm just saying, man, look.
We'll see, but I know.
I'm going to tell you what, we're probably going to be bringing more home this session than I can tell you. And you know, I have to go back and look.
But I wouldn't have used him about the diversion, because when we was fighting before you got in, he wouldn't back us on voting against the diversion. But
well, let me tell you, his attitude, look, I talked to him when he was parish president. He was not for the diversion. I guess sitting on that board, I don't know. I can't speak on that right there. But personally, talking to him about it when he was parish president and I first got into office, he was not for it. Because there was one, the Breton Sound, you know, that would have affected St. Bernard if it would have moved forward.
I know. I asked him, because we voted as a board 9-0 to go against CPRA. And
look, I don't know what to tell you, Mark. It could be the relationship you guys had. Who from Plaquemines Parish was going up there representing you? I can tell you right now, when we're in Baton Rouge, I got Mr. Marco, Kimberly Buck. This Buck is up there like a lot. And anytime any of these members go up to Baton Rouge with us, we're well received nowadays. There's things happening for Plaquemines Parish behind the scenes on our behalf because they see us. They know we're in Baton Rouge. They know we exist now. I mean, we've raised enough. Hell, I mean, look, the diversion is a big thing, bud. I'm going to tell you. But doing what we've done, what Zach found out for us, to be able to shut that diversion where we are right now today is huge. It's huge. I've gotten phone calls.
I agree.
But look, I've
4 years ago, I brought up, let's sue them. And our attorney said, we can't.
I can't speak on 22 and prior. All I can speak on is from when I'm sat here. And I'm going to tell you, it's different. It is different.
Thank you.
Okay.
You yield the floor to Mr. Chair.
Yeah, no, Mr. Konovich, I've been knowing Mr. McGinnis quite a long time, fighting the diversion and stuff, and he's always with us supported. Even in Washington, when we went to Mardi Gras my first year up there, he set us up a meeting dealing with Mardi Gras Pass and those issues about trying to see what we can do with it. And I know George Ricks and them, they did pass resolutions in St. Bernard mimicking the ones that we passed. Now, Jefferson Parish didn't. Jefferson Parish turned their back on. I'm just saying what I know dealing with Mr. McGinnis over all these years. I mean, he's always, supported the oyster industry and our fight against the diversion. I mean, maybe you heard something else. I don't know.
I'll tell you, there was a time where there were some folks in St. Bernard Parish wanted to close down Mardi Gras Pass. There's some certain people and individuals in Plaquemines Didn't want that to happen. All right.
Are we through with the discussion? Thank you. Next item, please.
D, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan, East Bank Water Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards, and this has changes.
Offer with the changes.
I need to read them. We are taking out the $2,300,000 and inserting $7,500,000 over a 5-year period. On line 4, it's for the year 2025. And on line 5, emergencies has been removed and surplus has been inserted. The $2,300,000 is being removed from line 12, and $7,500,000 has been inserted. On line 13, emergencies is being removed, and the surplus fund is being inserted. And it's going to be $1,500,000 for funding year 2025, 26, 27, 28, and 29, and those are the changes.
I offer it. Second. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table?
Yeah, I touched on this a bit with this plan, and I can't support this at this time, particularly since it's going to take, we don't have a price tag on this, number one. And then I will tell you, in the plan on page 11, and I will quote, just so you, and I agree with this, it says there are 3 projects on the East Bank that have been designed that entail replacement of cast iron pipes. It names what they are, and it says this: these are shovel-ready projects that should be prioritized for construction once funding is available. I agree wholeheartedly. However, we also mentioned in the parish president's briefing that we had a CDBG fund grant that we applied for that would be $2 million. We also had a DWR fund, I think it was Drinking Water Revitalization Fund, another $2 million. That's $4 million. I'm all about putting it all here. So to take money out of the limited amount of funds we have now, particularly with the debt we're going into, our funds are diminishing as we speak. We're sitting here and oil's dropping. We're sitting here and we don't know how much money we have because we're not compensating for water. And to take from these funds, and we're going into hurricane season, I think it's a bad move. I'd much rather wait, potentially get this $4 million. We need to have a realistic timeline, find out where it is, and I'm all for putting it all here. But let's do it right. There's $4 million that we can get. And we are pursuing it. So I think to move hastily because we think we need to replace cast iron pipes. Cast iron pipes aren't the devil. We all grew up with cast iron pipes. Lake Park's cast iron pipes, down the road's cast iron pipes. They're not bad. They have some issues. It's old technology. But there's some issues that need to be, there's some areas that need to be replaced. I got it. Port Sulphur has fragile cast iron pipes. We got them all over the place. Right now, the waterworks, I think we need to address the pressure problems. I spoke to Robert Morgan to find out why the pressure went down recently, and he told me that the jail facility filled their tanks, and they didn't coordinate that effort, and they emptied the water tower. Therefore, there was no pressure. That's one instance. I don't know how many times that has happened, but we can do better about that. So just to make sure everyone understands that I am all about replacing the water lines, and I think the plan says the East Bank is a priority. But if we have this grant money coming, let's get a timeline. Let's do it smartly. Let's set conditions so wait a minute, the funds arrive, we start on this. But to hit our funds, but just because we got them, I don't think that's a smart move. I yield.
Schultz?
Yes, so to the cast iron pipe issue, I agree with Mr. Champagne. I have cast iron pipes in between 23 and 24. I probably had 30 breaks in my district. I mean, it seemed like every day. Habo, you were beating me to the call sometime. 30 breaks in my district, all cast iron. Patty had one, last week? Where it shut down water for 2 last week. Correct, yeah, I forgot it broke in a different spot. So that shut down water. So cast iron is a problem throughout. So I agree with Mr. Champagne in the draft. It does say they're shovel ready. They should take priority. But my main concern is how we're doing this. It says $7.5 million, but really all we're appropriating is $1.5 million. That's it. Everything else goes into future funding years, and then we have to find the funding source at budget time every year because they're not going to have the money at budget time, the administration, to fund these projects. So then we're going to have every year for the next 4 years, try to find that money. Looking at what you showed it to me briefly, I asked for a more detailed copy from engineering. There's 3 different phases, and $1.5 million only could cover one of the phase, but that's in the middle. Me personally, what I'd rather see is start with one of the phase. I think engineering said it makes sense to start at the north and go south and fund a complete phase, and then in future year come back for more funding for the other 2 phases instead of starting with $1.5 million and then stopping a project midway through until we find more funding. Instead of stop, go, let's either fund it all now or wait to see what that $4 million will cover one of those phases. The first phase actually will almost cover the complete thing. So that's my main concern is I'm not saying it's not needed, but doing it the way this ordinance says, we're only funding $1.5 million. We're only appropriating $1.5 million. The other $6 million is just going in capital improvement plans and basically saying, good luck in the future to find the funding. That's my main concern is we're not taking the right approach to actually get this work done in an efficient way. I yield.
Mr. Conover.
I'm for all doing it, but I don't know if we could, should we put 6 million on the next council? You know, do up to 2026, get what is one stage, was it 3-4 million? Go ahead and do that, and then.
That's what I would prefer.
But,
one phase and then go ahead.
but I agree that it all needs to be done, and everybody has cast iron pipes, but we're doing 2.8 million for Park and Belchase. We could do yeah, your park was 2.8 million. Yeah. No, I seen something where it was 2.8 million they had in the budget on that.
I would gladly take $2.8 million for a park. It's $250,000.
Misplaced your comma.
I didn't put the comma. That's how I come. But, you know, y'all talk wants, needs, and have to have. Park they ain't have to have. You know, and like I said when we voted on it, because I voted against it, they got a park on Barrier. But y'all didn't want y'all kids to walk across the street. But my kids have got to walk 20 miles. So that's where I'm at. If we could do the one section and the next council come, but we're going to put the next council in, you know, 6 million debt. But I'm for doing the pipes.
Mitch?
Yes, I kind of, it's a tough situation. I want to see the worst, you know, I agree with Chris. I think we should do one phase at a time. My only concern, I talked to Jonah, he said it doesn't have to be consecutive years, that it's a 5-year plan, but you may be able to eliminate a year, say the first section is what it comes up to be, a little over 2 million or something. What was it?
First section, it looks like it's going to be about 4 million.
4 million.
Oh, yeah, that would be tough to swallow right at the moment.
The cheapest one is
It's in the
right in the
middle.
middle. So you don't want to start in the, I would assume you don't want to start in the middle of a
Right.
pipe repair.
I'm just, I mean, I wanna support something here, get it started. I just, you know, as Mark said too, I don't wanna, you know, put the burden that now we obligated to $7.5 million and we don't have $7.5 million, because we're gonna need things in other areas as well. We got, as we said, we got cast iron pipes everywhere. I don't know what the worst section is, you know, yet, you know, I mean, but we all experience cast iron breaks. I'm just at the point of, I would like to see something get started here. Do we need another 2 weeks to look at, Rub, maybe to look at, you know, how we can piece this together to make it, you know, instead of looking at this big figure, try to come up with a section, you know, and see what we can do some kind of way. Meanwhile, grants will be being looked at. But I just, you know, whatever you want to do, I mean, I'm going to try to be, you know, I'm thinking about your residents and everything as well. And I'm, you know, I want to see them get the job done. But, you know, I'd like to see maybe one phase of it started. And I don't know, you know, I don't like the 5-year, every year we got to come funding, you know, if we don't have it. What happens if we don't have it? It's not there. Well, I like that, you know, and as I said, talking with Jonah, he said it didn't have to have date years on it, you know, like 2026, 27, 28, 29. But I think maybe if we pulled that back and, you know, every year revisited something and look at the budget, I yield.
McCarthy.
I have 3 thoughts on this, and it definitely concerns being conscious of the citizens and what their needs are. I'd like to remind everyone that my predecessor had put aside a lot of money for different projects, and they stayed on the books, and then when budget time came last year, all those projects were knocked off because the funding just wasn't there, and it just hung on the books for a long time. So with that knowledge, it might be best prudent to do one phase at a time. And then secondly, is it best to do the center first? Is that going to actually help? Or is there another section that would actually help increase the water pressure?
So all 3 of these are 3 separate sections on the East Bank. These 3 sections are not connected to it.
Okay, I thought they were connected.
Yes, this is 3 separate areas on the East Bank.
Okay, that's different.
One, the English Turn 4-mile section goes actually on the old English Turn Road from Stolthaven around, follows the river levee to the ferry. That's a 4-mile stretch. The second one is from Stella Plantation to Promised Land. And, I'm sorry, the second one is Marks Lane to Bertrandville, and then Stella Plantation to Promised Land. They're not connected projects. So when you say the middle one, that's just the one on the page, right?
Okay.
Right. So there's no middle section. They're 3 separate projects, 3 separated projects, I should say. And ideally, to Councilman Schultz's comments, ideally, yeah, you want to take one of these projects and complete it, but it doesn't have to be. We could take whatever, $1 million, 1.5. If we had 5 million, we can complete that section. But according to engineering, if we had 1.5 million, we could do 1.5 million of that English Turn project. It's not completed, but a third of it is. We're that much closer to completing that one.
However, if we do a project partially, does it make a difference to the people?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
So it's better
All
to do
3 of them
one complete
completed
project.
makes a big difference
Yeah.
because they're able to increase the pressure to fill the water tower. And any fluctuation in the pressure of that system, we alleviate those brown water problems.
Okay. Is there one?
I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. That's a mistake.
I've asked that question multiple times, and the answer is no.
Okay.
I don't think one is more crucial than the other. They're all equally important to the whole Dalcourse system.
So I'm very sensitive to water issues, particularly because of the bridge. And last year and the year before, we were losing water almost every other week, and sometimes twice a week. You know, and we have a main pipe that I don't know if it's going to be replaced by Plenary, but the main pipe on the other side of the bridge needs to be replaced too. So I just wanted to make that note to people.
That in that meeting, I think Troy stressed that area, that line needs to be addressed.
Yes.
And Even though they may push back and say that wasn't part of the project, in our opinion, it was.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Gouy.
He's already in.
Mr. President, do you have a date? Keith, do you have a date when we'll have a decision on the grants?
We do not. These grants take, as y'all know, they take a long time to come to fruition. We don't.
So,
Wish I did.
yeah, well, we're talking about waiting for the grants. We don't have any idea when these grants are gonna come. I mean, that throws a.
When or if.
I mean, it'll be this year, though. I mean.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's what I need.
But then, like I said, we applied for it, I think, it was last year, right? Or this year. But you know what I'm saying, is we applied.
There's
then they turned
actually-
us down, but then.
There's actually two funding sources we're going after for these. We applied for all three of these for the water sector program. We were just denied. We're going to reapply, but there was the CBDG just opened up. We were just became eligible for the 2 million to apply for that funding. So we picked the Stella Plantation, the Stella to Promised Land section to apply for that $2 million. That process just started. We just submitted that yesterday, I want to say. That had to get to Baton Rouge yesterday.
So we don't know
We don't know.
when, if we were approved or denied, we wouldn't know.
Correct. Right. Correct.
So, Jeff, starting and stopping the project, wouldn't that increase mobilization costs and possibly labor costs? Because if we sign a contract, we know the cost, but if we wait a year, once we get more funding, wouldn't that possibly increase the cost?
According to engineering, there will be some. Yeah.
Okay.
There'll be some increase, but according to Jonah, it would be. I don't want to say negligible, but yes, there will be a little bit of increase in cost.
This is just me talking, is doing a phase, English turn, basically section. And I misread the email, sorry about that. The way it came across, it looked like it was segments, but they were in order, in line, but I misread it. Is doing the English turn, we can appropriate money. By the time that gets done, we should have the answer on CDBG for the other section, and then the last section is only 500,000. I'm sure this council will appropriate the remaining 500,000 if we get a CBG grant, and then that way we can get started now on a phase, and then see if the grant money comes across, and then finish it. Possibly, I mean, and we won't even need to go 5 years out because we will get the grant money. We have the money for the English turn, and then we can fund the last minor phase from Marks Lane to the Marks Lane section. That's just my.
Well, basically what you're saying is probably the only way these projects are going to be, these waterline projects are going to be able to move forward. Because we're not going to be able to come up with the 5 million.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
So the thing is you do the million, we keep trying to find funding just to keep moving forward. So that's not a bad idea.
Ultimately, this is Mr. Edwards.
I'd be anything like this. If you could find $1 million to put away into a fund, if you're concerned about
No, I'm
the
talking
mode and demode
me personally.
projects.
Me personally, the way this reads and this reads, the English turn is actually going to be $4 million. I'd rather pay for the $4 million and get the big section done, and then wait for the grant. That's because instead of putting $1.5 million on for the next 5 years and trying to find ways to fund it over the next 5 years, that's just my accounting brain working and knowing where our budget is. That's just, I mean, ultimately it's your ordinance, and we'll get to the vote at some point, but that's the way I think. I yield.
Brother. Mr. Newsom, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple questions. And I had that email, but I did not bring it with me. So, in this legislation, we appropriate currently, if it passes, whatever, if it passes, can $1.5 million complete any project that we have, any of the segments of water lines, Jeff?
So the latest cost of these projects, the English Turn, the 4 mile section is roughly $4,500,000. The Marks Lane to Bertrandville, which is about a half a mile, is about $760,000.
So it can fund that.
I'm sorry?
So the 1.5 million could fund it.
If y'all so choose, yes, sir.
Well, again, and as, I don't know who brought it up, I know there's probably a cost. I just hate doing something basically half, and y'all know I won't go any further, but why don't we do something and get it done? And whatever project, if the 1.5 million is appropriate, why do we have to start? Well, let's get one done, let's get a section, and it's over with, and it's done, and then we move on, and so.
Okay.
And if that's what it is, if it's 1.5. My next question is, okay, you got that. My next question is, can these projects even get started now with the High River?
No.
No. So
Unless we get a
what's
waiver.
and I don't
Unless
know
we
it.
get a waiver.
Get a waiver.
When they go down, they can.
When the river goes down, what's
It will
and I'm not a expert in the river. Do we anticipate 2-3 months going down to be able to?
In about a month at the most.
About a month, so it'd be at least a month. Okay,
When does it go
so
down?
that's not a long time frame. Next question, and I know y'all spoke about the CGBD grants for roughly $2 million. Does that come with any matching?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all.
Hey, Ronnie, just a quick note. Look, the port just got, when we first got into office, they got one of those 20-inch lines to expand. That didn't finish that project. What I'm saying, but it was a substantial amount of money. It was a nice grant, but it only carried that water line for a certain distance. So what I'm saying is, that was a huge dollar amount, but at least it just keeps, you're stepping down, you keep on moving down. Basically, this is a project, or these are projects basically the same way. You're just doing them in the increments. And at the end of the day, they're completed.
And I did have another note. Are these, what are we anticipating? 20-inch line, 16, 8? What are they going to be?
English Turn is a 10-inch line replacement. Marks Lane and the Stella to Promised Land are 12-inch line replacements.
Is that sufficient? I'm asking because I don't know. That's all.
According to who designed them, evidently that was sufficient. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Oh,
McCarthy.
we can put Brian back in. Go ahead, give him the floor.
And the one comment I want to make on this, some of you touched on it, you need to finish one box. Mobilization and demobilization is a significant portion of the project. You can do it in some cases as much as 30%, and they do. So if that's the pathway you decide to go, you need to complete it, because we'd just be wasting money otherwise, because you have to bring all your equipment out on the job site, stop, then come back and do it all over again. It's a monumental waste. So if that's the pathway I decide to go, I would recommend completing a section. I yield.
So, yeah, Mr. Champagne brings up a good point. Who's going to determine what's done and who's going to determine the order? Is administration going to do that?
The money will.
The money will. So if 1.5 is approved, will we do whatever section that we can finish? Will that be, is that what's going to be done? And I'm going to ask because that's important. That's important for me to make a decision.
Project specific, then y'all make that determination.
Say again, I'm sorry.
If y'all want to create a budget and make it project specific.
Well, I just want to know if we appropriate money.
Engineering.
Where we're going to spend it at.
Recommended that we start on the north side, which would be on the English Turn side.
Because of, do they have why they recommended that?
They're
Just
the
'cause
experts.
it's the beginning of the line?
I followed their direction.
Okay. I just, the demob and the mob, again, I'm not a special, have as much knowledge as my colleague, Mr. Champagne, because that's his line of business, but I do think it's gonna up the cost. And who knows when we are gonna be able to find funding for the rest of the stuff, because, again, we've all spoken about where funding's gonna be tight and all that stuff, so we have to, I'm just worried, I'm get something done. Thank you.
Charles?
And that kind of goes into where we start, because English term would be the first one. That's going to be, by the time you count contingencies, about $4 million. If we start there with only 1.5, we're going to start, stop, demobilize, then remobilize when we find the funding. And that's just what my main concern is what Mr. Champagne said, is basically wasting money. So I get that I'm not an engineer. I'm not trying, so I don't know all the ins and outs and everything. But that's mainly my concern. Why rather fund a complete section than stop if that's where we're going to start. Now, if we're going to start somewhere else with the 1.5 with the Marks Lane, then that would cover the whole thing. That would make sense. But then if we start with Stella to Promised Land, is the CDGB grant, can we spend the money and then be reimbursed? That's something else you gotta look into, like.
Councilman,
So that's it.
if you don't mind, because I think we'll beat this horse to death and we back and forth. My suggestion is we start where we get the best buck for that $1.5 million. That's whatever spot that would help to do. That's where I would like to see it happen. And so if it's Mark Land, wherever it is, then
If
that's
you
what
want to complete a project, we could start with Marks Lane.
that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
So that's what I'm proposing. If I can get a second.
You amendment? You gotta make an amendment. No?
We're still appropriating $1.5 million.
Yeah, that,
Is he taking out the other 4 years?
and what?
Are you taking out the other 4 years?
Yeah, whatever it takes for me to get that $1.5 million for that project, we'll do it there and then
Okay.
move forward when we get the additional funds. See, what I was told, that we get this started and even with the $4 million, that part of it we place when you get to $2 million. That's how it was presented to me. You
Can I
see?
offer amendment?
Yeah.
If I may?
Yes, you may.
If we're going to just do the one section, amend it to $1 million, that should be able to complete that project. And we'll see where we want to move forward on the next one.
You good? Okay,
I'm
I'll
good with
offer
that.
amendment. Can I cue in? Or I'm on, never mind. I'll offer amendment. Oh,
Mr. Conovich got the floor.
my bad. I thought you
Mr. Conovich got the
I'm sorry.
I said he needs to make an amendment.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's what he was doing.
How much is the two cheapest sections? 1.5 million?
No,
He said 1 million could do one, 500 for the other.
No, he misspoken.
it'll be about,
One is about
Yeah,
1 is about, the
That's the
whole
first
English
one,
turn
English
section
turn.
is like 4.3, something like that.
4.5.
The Bertrand to Mark is only about,
That's an estimate.
it's an estimate.
Yeah, it still has to go out for
About
bid.
800. So we're saying appropriate $1 million.
Next one.
And then the next one was,
About 1.7 to 1.9.
right.
That's why we
And that's
applied
the
that
one,
one to
but
the
that
$2
one we
million
have a grant for. That's the one we applied for a grant from Stella to Promised Land.
is it reimbursable? If we spend the money now, can we reimburse?
I don't think so. I don't think
So we don't want to touch that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one I would suggest we wait until we find out about the grant.
Yeah, you let the grant go on that one.
All right,
You good, saying he can offer this amendment?
All right. I'd like to offer amendment on the digest, line 3, changing to, in order to appropriate 1 million, right? 1 million to the East Bank water projects for the funding source for the year 2025. Everything else stays the same, basically. Just 1 million goes there. Line 12 will now read appropriating 1 million. And then on line 14, basically removing line 14 and 15. You don't need the rest of that. Everybody good with that?
Motion
million.
second by,
Reverend, you good with that?
I'm very good with it.
All right, I'll offer that amendment. Ask for a second.
And it's been second.
Sorry.
Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, machine is open for voting
Or the amendment.
for the amendment. And now, we make a motion to accept it as amended. Second, Any comments from the audience? Better not. I'm sorry. Administration, table. Machine is open for voting. And it passes 9-0. Thank you, Councilmember. Next item after this exhausted discussion.
E, an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, legal judgment department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards. This has changes.
On line 19, we're removing the general fund unreserved undesignated fund balance and adding the end of line 19 into 20, fund balance designated for emergencies.
Offer with the changes. Second, any comments from the audience? Administration, table. Machine is open for voting.
Shit, did I press the wrong button? I might have pressed the wrong button.
It better not be no, that's all.
I think I did press no.
Nope.
No, I
You
didn't.
did good, man.
I got too big of fingers.
Thank you. Next item, please.
F, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan, District 3 recreational park project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
A second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, Schultz, you wanna?
This is not 2.5 million. But this, hopefully, we won't even need all of it. Some of the quotes for the, are coming in a little bit higher, so it's just a little cushion, and whatever we don't use will go back into, and we're still waiting for a word on the 2 grants we applied, which we should hear back late this month or early next month. So hopefully, we can return.
I do believe one of the grants didn't come through.
We're not,
Okay.
yeah, no, not all of it, but we're waiting for the final.
I hear you.
Well, I will tell you after. I'll tell you after. Not all of it.
Answer the email.
If I can cue in, I mean, just to respond, we're on an embargo for one of our grants, so that's why we can't announce, but
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay.
Brother Mitch, if you can get
Yeah.
through the discussion next to
I'm gonna look at Chris. I don't know if I could vote for this. You voted no on one of my things last time.
Simple names.
Oh, man, that was old, man. Y'all still, y'all can like it. That's old stuff.
Okay. You know, I'm trying to understand the stuff about parks, because I know, and somebody mentioned it earlier, as it relates to parks on East Bay, we have to travel long distance to get to playground. And I want to know about the uses, how much people use this park. Because you got so many parks in Belchase, you know. And I'm sorry?
Your answer.
Yes.
Technically, this is going to be a new park, and it's already being used by a lot of people, even though it's not even complete yet. I mean, every time I drive by, I see people walking. Billy, I think a couple times you've been out there, you saw people out there with dog. I mean, it's going to be a dog park, so we don't have numbers yet because technically it's
It's
not
a dog park?
Well, it's a mix. There's a dog park section, playground section, and walking trail. It's 3 and a pickleball court.
Okay.
So it's 4 different things, and I guess you could bring a goat. I don't know. That would be.
Come on, let's go, please.
So that we don't have numbers because it's not even technically open yet. We're still working on it, and this is to basically make sure where we can order the rest of the stuff. And then, like I said, I don't think we're going to use all of it, and we're going to return it to the general fund, but just to where we can keep the thing moving, where we can open.
Thank you. Ms. McCarthy?
In addition,
Oh, we have too many conversations. She need to be heard.
thank you. Cypress Park, as far as I know, is the only functioning park in Belchase right now. You know, that's off of Everwood Abear Boulevard. And the park under the bridge was only a walking track, and so they've removed that, or they may put it back much smaller with 2 parking spots. So that's why I'm trying to put a park in the Fort St. Leon area, just to let you know.
Thank you. Mr. Conovich?
They don't have a park on Barrier back there?
That's the Medal of Honor Park.
No, they got a tennis court and all back there.
That's in like of yours in that neighborhood.
That's a park, right?
It's about smaller than this room,
Okay.
smaller than this room.
Any other discussion on this matter from the table? The machine is open for voting. And after exhausted discussion, it's 9-0. Okay, next item, please.
I, an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget disaster preparedness department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards.
Oh, yeah, just something from the administration. Yes, I offer it. Second by Councilman Schultz. Any comments from the audience? For the administration? The table? Machine is open for all 9, yes? And it did. Thank you so much. Next item.
An ordinance to amend the 2025 operating revenue budget to accept a donation to remove trees in conflict with signage for the bridge and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
Offered by Councilman Schultz, second by McCarty. We got one, let's get the audience first before you, Mr. Newsom. Mr. Newsom?
This ain't going to that park, huh? This, what is it? That's going to general fund?
I would have to say this, we should designate it for the new sign on the bridge.
Go ahead.
What,
So what this is,
yeah, what is
where
it?
they put signage, they had to remove 2 little crepe myrtles off the middle of the median. So they're paying us for the 2 little raggedy crepe myrtles they cut down. So, but you're right, the money should go to recreation, in my opinion, but it will go to the general fund, but it should be a specific use.
Let's defer, because I don't have the count number and everything to actually designate it to.
So you're gonna defer, Mr.
Yeah, let me defer where I can get appropriate count number and.
It has been deferred. Let's end the conversation. It's been deferred. Next item, please.
A resolution authorizing the parish president or his designee to accept the donation of an infrared sauna for use by the fire department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
Been offered by Councilman Schultz. Can we get second by Mr. Newsom? Any comments from the audience, from the administration, from the table? Here, none, the machine is open for voting. Ms. Champagne, okay.
We're putting it in the park.
McCutcheon, you voted? And it passes 9-0. Next item, please.
L, a resolution approving the issuance of a 2-year extension commencing upon the expiration of the current 2-year extension period to Woodland Borough Pits LLC for the existing sand pit on property located in FP zoning district at 22238 Highway 23, Port Sulphur, Louisiana, all in accordance with application number 2019-753 dated June 28, 2020, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
Offer Mr. France, second by Mitch. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, not hearing. The machine is open for voting. All member vote, please.
Wait, you just undid your,
And I'm sorry?
you just undid yours.
That's okay. I'm voting yes verbally. So it's 8-1. Next item. We have a graduation.
M, a resolution supporting the submission of a letter advocating for the funding and continued support of the Sea Grant program, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Jurassic.
Offered, second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, the table. Or Mitch, you have something to say? Okay.
Quick. Yeah, this is when Sea Grant came, asked us, they did get defunded at the federal level. So we do have the letter of support in the back, so maybe we'll get the administration to get this, we'll get this to the proper congressmen and all, and with all of our, I think we all support this as a parish, so just asking, to get this, we'll pass this and move on, so that's all I have.
Machine is now open for voting. And it successfully passed 9 yes. Next item.
And an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund revenue and expenditure budgets and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Jurisic.
Offered and second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, machine is open for voting. Dr. Good, okay. And it passes 9-0. Next item.
A resolution ratifying the parish president's appointment of Councilmember Brian Champagne as his designee on the local ITAP committee in accordance with Section 549 of Title 13, Chapter 5, Subchapter B of the Louisiana Administrative Code, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Jurisic.
Offered and second. Any comments from the audience, the administration? Machine is open for voting.
All right.
Congratulations, Brian. I hope you do a good job, my friend. Next item.
P, an ordinance to authorize an act of sale by the parish of Plaquemines to sell certain adjudicated properties by public auction and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Cottonwood.
I've been offered and second. Any comments from the audience, administration? I'm sorry.
Hi, David Clark, 108 Avenue E in Bell Chase. Does this property include the LSU Ag? It does not. Okay, thanks.
It's just a question. Okay. Mr. Conovich, I'm sorry.
Mr. Brock's coming.
Oh, yes, indeed.
We ain't heard from you.
I'll make it fast. Is this parish property being sold?
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Ms. Conovich is still.
Yep. This is property in Bootville. Shouldn't be cleaned before we sell it. We vote it's sold, but they have already started cleaning, putting trash on the road now, and he paid somebody to clean, so, and they don't want to pick it up. We don't want to pick it up. So what can we do? Hold out the sale till they clean the road, or?
Do we really need to do that?
They should do
I'll talk to them. They did, like land clearing you're talking about?
Yep.
Or,
Land clearing.
I mean, land clearing is not typically allowed. So if they did that, they need to hire a third party to come pick that up.
They hired a third party to clean and just left.
Well, we to be fair to these individuals, there are other parish properties that neighbors will keep up and clean and keep up. And if you remember right, they alleged that they had been keeping up with the property since it first entered. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but we don't normally go after people for cleaning up property. But if in this case they did land clearing and put that debris on the side of the road, they do need a third party to come pick that up.
Well, I know it wasn't the next door neighbor, because I talked to him, and if he kept it up, I didn't even know they had a trailer on the back of the piece of land.
Right. I hear you.
Can I defer it?
That's what my suggestion.
I mean, that's your choice. I mean, we went through the process. I'm sure if I tell the people they gotta have a third party pick it up, they'll come pick it up.
You want to wait to hear what Mitch have to say before you make your decision?
Yeah, I kind of agree. They shouldn't be cleaning property off before they own it, especially if it's parish property, because it's a liability to us. And, just like we talk about people who put up RV spots before they get the conditional use, I think this is one of them situations we should definitely hold them accountable for entering that property before the sale was complete. And I agree with Mr. Conovich on that.
You want to postpone this until you get a guaranteed, okay, defer it, okay. So it has been deferred. Next item, please.
10, approval of the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 regular meeting.
So offered.
Second.
Comments from the audience, administration table. Machine is open. Everybody voting? Oh, I'm sorry, I did mine twice. And minutes passed, next item.
11B, District 7 update, Lake Hermitage Road penalty for digging. All right.
Been deferred. Next item.
C, District 9 update, discussion of the shoulder of the road on Highway 23 and sewage. line.
So what's happening to this one? You good?
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn, okay. Okay.
We already did the exit.
Very important item, next important item. Motion to adjourn. Who made the motion? Mitch?
And second.
Second by Cho. Mr. It is open.
Councilmember Champagne?
Captain Champagne, you voting for adjournment?
You want to stay? Well, we got to stay.
Like the Paris Council meeting is officially adjourned.